Hope you're ready. It'll be here any minute. Is that a rifle?
You don't know what a rifle looks like?
It's just swords were your thing and guns were mine. But I guess we're both doing guns now. I just didn't know that.
Well, that's intense.
I see it within you. Fear, jealousy, betrayal. It is our duty to cleanse the universe of this weakness.
You know, they told me you people were conceited douchebags, but that isn't true at all.
Dude! I'm using my wrong eye.
Groot, put your seatbelt on! So we're saving the galaxy again? Yep. Awesome! We're really gonna be able to jack up our price if we're two-time galaxy savers. Showtime, a-holes!
9 billion names of pod.
From Atlanta, where that ever-growing mound isn't an alien spore, it's just Chick-fil-A wrappers. It's the 9 Billion Names of Pod with Dan Bauman and Michael Reed. I'm Dan Bauman.
I am surly, middle-aged Groot.
So, let's talk about some stuff.
Get off my bark.
So
Stay away from my limbs. I got very little leaves left. Stop. Get away.
How'd you like it if someone pulled something off of you?
Usually I have to pay for that.
Yeah, we finally got to see Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Volume 2. So, what was your takeaway right away?
A little uneven.
Okay.
Plenty of yucks, plenty of jokes. You know, the characters have been established, so you had to go somewhere with them. They utilized, especially the spoken unspoken thing between Star-Lord and Gamora. So they probably could have given the script one more little pass, but for the most part, I'm good. I'm okay. I mean, because let's face it, the first Guardians was lightning in a bottle.
Right.
You know, you can't necessarily judge it against the first one. You sometimes you have to judge it against every other film that you've seen and kind of place it in there. And Guardians Volume 1, just fucking spectacular. 2, solid. It's okay.
It's funny because the more I get away from it, or the more it has seeped into my brain, I'm liking it more and more and more and more. I think what Gunn has done is really remarkable because of exactly what you said. There's no way they could have.
You can't get that Guardian fresh feeling again.
Right. You can't.
You know them from,
Right. And I think he did the really smartest thing is he almost kind of flipped it on its head because it made it less about that's, I think, the failing of most of the superhero movies is that they just try to go bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, giant more monsters. And there was plenty of big in this movie, but he went backwards and turned it into, it was like Firefly. It was like family drama.
Yeah. I will critique that they kind of really hey, the Guardians are a family. Did I happen to mention they're a family? No, really, they're kind of family. What's that over there? That's them. And they're a family.
Yeah.
It's like,
that's what this movie was about.
We get it. Demonstrate that through actions, through dialogue. Don't keep saying, hey, this is what we are, right? I get it.
I can see a little bit of that.
A touch too much of that.
Yeah.
It wasn't enough to make me go, oh, God, not this shit again.
Yeah.
But it definitely was noticeable. It was like, we get it. They're a family. Okay.
And before we get complaints, spoilers, because we're going to talk about it. We're not going to dance around the movie. I'm
going to dance.
You're
That has completely nothing to do with the film.
Going to dance like Baby Groot.
Oh, Baby Groot.
Baby Groot. Okay, let's go there. That's the most remarkable thing, or that's a really amazing thing about this is that it's Baby Groot. It's not like Groot, but he's just little. It's Baby Groot, and they treat him like a baby. My favorite,
and Baby Groot acts like a baby.
My favorite moment,
like cuddle me.
Yeah, I'm going to sleep on your shoulder.
Yeah.
My favorite moment was right in the beginning of the amazing opening sequence.
Yes, let's get to that.
If you haven't seen the opening sequence, they start with, they're right in their middle of their mission. They're protecting some space batteries or something
from an interdimensional being that is enormous, and so much action. But that's kind of fuzzy in the background,
it's
because
all background.
What you're getting is Groot dancing,
and
it being every once in a while interrupted by the fact, oh, that's right, they're fighting for their fucking lives. out there.
By a giant monster.
Yeah,
and that was my favorite moment. Was Groot is dancing and Gamora gets thrown across the thing, and she's like, Groot, get over there, you're gonna get hurt. And then he waves at her, and she was like, hi. That killed me. That fucking wrecked me, because it was like, oh my god, he's a baby. He doesn't,
exactly.
And him punching on Drax and stuff.
Yeah. Or Drax, basically jumping into the giant maw of this creature and stabbing it from the inside, having no effect whatsoever.
No, not at all.
So
not at all.
Thank God for that tiny little,
cut in his chin.
in the chin of
the
monster.
I'll take the MacGuffin.
Yeah, I think in the morning when he was shaving, he's like, you think this thing? No, it'll be okay. No one will be able to kill me.
Be all right. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, everyone has blasters. Who has swords anymore? Yeah, we'll be fine.
Right, and of course, Gamora takes it out, like cuts it down the middle, eviscerates it.
Does an Errol Flynn
exactly.
Robin Hood, and just rides the creature all the way down its entire height. And opens it up
stem to stern, and Drax pops out and goes, I single-handedly destroyed the monster.
It's good, and we'll get to it, but the Guardians have expanded their ranks.
Yes, they have.
Yeah, so this is also a good sign,
and that's a definite Marvel thing. I mean, like, the Fantastic Four is the Fantastic Four. That's it.
By name. They went through that event, so they're the Fantastic Four.
But the Avengers, I mean, there have been 35 Avengers.
Right.
There've been many different teams. So the Guardians are kind of like that. There are different. So they're gonna bring people on. They're gonna lose people.
Which makes me wonder. Is he expanding the numbers out so we could lose somebody in 3?
Well,
maybe
3, maybe. Infinity War, like I said, is going to get rough. We're going to lose a whole bunch of people in Infinity War. That's going to happen.
It's like, all right, everybody, step in the room here. I have in front of you all your contracts. Those who would like to continue on, please pick up your contract. All right, let's see. 7 on the table. All right, now we know who's going to die.
Right.
So there
everyone
we go.
who's in Infinity War, step forward. Not so fast, Hawkeye.
He's really good with a bow and arrow in space.
Fighting robots.
Once you pluck that arrow would literally go on forever.
Forever, yeah.
Yeah. One thing that I noticed that kind of was jarring at the time, and at the end kind of made me go, I hope they're setting something up for 3, because if not, it was worthless. What the hell was Stallone doing there?
That's a setup for
it has
later.
To be, because you don't get someone grumble of that stature.
I thought he was actually I think he was really serviceable. I think he's a good.
He did. It's still Stallone.
Yeah, but he was, he wasn't Rocky, he wasn't Rambo, he was whatever, the Ravager. And yes, from what I understand, again, I'm not as big. I did some research of Easter eggs in this movie, and he's definitely one of them. And that last scene, not to jump, the last scene.
Well, you can jump, just don't do like 700 in a row.
Yeah, exactly, because that's really bad.
Ow.
There was they showed a lot of different Ravagers in the end,
right.
And all of those were Easter eggs, from what I understand.
Okay,
because Rames and Michelle Yeoh, those are all like characters from.
Right, because at the end I'm going, they're spending a lot of time on Ravagers, Ravager culture, this and that. I'm like, this has to be something that's going to continue on.
And also, I mean, that was Ving Rhames, and I believe that was Michelle Yeoh, and I was like, oh, they wouldn't, if these are nobodies, they're not gonna. They're not gonna
jump in for hey, you're on screen for exactly 4 minutes or 4 seconds, excuse me.
Well, they just wouldn't hire. They would just hire a character actor.
Exactly.
They would hire somebody for scale and not a name for those.
And
things.
we got was it Brad, the brother?
Oh, Sean Gunn.
Sean Gunn, that's it.
As
Sean Gunn.
Graggle, I think his name
That's
is.
his name. Glad to see he got a little more screen time in this one.
Yeah,
more-
definitely. And, okay, spoilers, he's going to pick up the mantle of Yondu.
What?
It looks like.
What happened to Yondu?
Well, we'll get to that.
Okay.
If I didn't blow it with the all the Ravagers gathering at the end.
Yes, like they do. So, your thoughts? Your opening.
Like I said, as I've gotten away from it, I really want to see it again now.
Yeah, this is a film that requires at least another couple of viewings.
Yeah. I watched it and I was like, oh man, that was fun. That was great. I laughed a lot and it was a lot of action. And as I, kind of peeled the onion of it, I was like, man, yes, I see your point about the family stuff, but I thought that was a brilliant move to turn it inside out and make it all about that instead of, like I said, trying to up the ante. And it's bringing Nebula and because Nebula, holy shit, she's crazy. I mean, basically flew a ship. Well, first of all, she gets captured by the Sovereign, the gold people, who are just dicks. Like,
hey, come on. Rocket did take their precious fucking
batteries,
their fucking Duracells.
Yeah, space batteries.
And once again, his perchant for stealing things turns out to be very fortuitous in the end.
Yes,
he had nothing to ignite with the detonator. Except, oh look, these massively powerful batteries that I stole.
And these massively valuable batteries, which they was planning to sell.
And he sacrificed it for the world.
Right. So Nebula evidently was the bounty or the payment,
right,
for the Guardians,
right.
For killing the big battery-eating squid or whatever it was.
Or battery stealing, eating? Do we know what
I don't know what it was.
Do we know what the creature
We'd have to see it again.
It was an interdimensional being.
Yeah,
we know that. So
that might have just been sent by whoever to take the battery.
And maybe that's a Thanos thing. Who knows?
I don't know. Yeah. It might have just been a MacGuffin, because it's funny when I saw the trailer the first time and they showed all the images, I was like, that's like the first. That's going to be how the movie opens. They're going to be fighting that big crazy monster, and I was like, yeah, that's what. And I was right.
Yeah, because a monster that looks like that is like, that's not the.
I was like, either that's the end of the movie, which would be stupid to show it here,
right,
or that's the beginning of the movie, and it'll be a great way to start.
Right. You don't have a baddie that's some big blob. I mean, that's.
I mean, obviously because of Star Wars, but I mean, I've always been a fan of starting in the middle of the action. In the middle or near the end of a mission is
basically in the first 5 seconds. Once the credits are done, if you're not hearing pew 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 pew,
yeah,
you're like, nah, this movie's gonna suck.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a pew. Oh, 6 seconds, excellent, we're in.
Yeah, and thrown right into the middle of it.
Exactly. So.
So yeah, Gamora was the payment. So and they were going to ransom her back to Nova, to the Kree on Nova Prime, I believe, and they get sidetracked. They get attacked by the Sovereign, by 10 million little drone video game people,
bunch of prissy little bitches. Like, oh no, I'm sorry,
we're too valuable.
We're gonna stay home and play video games and hope that it works out.
Yeah,
because basically each person is a pilot, but they're in a
remote.
Yeah, they're doing it at like a call center, and Indy's like, we're gonna have a war over there. All right, I think excellent. All right, we're gonna stock our war center, fill everyone up, and when your little light goes out, that means your ship is
you lose.
Your ship done blowed up.
Yep,
your ship explode.
Your ship explode, but they are kind of effective because they fuck up the Milano, man. They fuck up Star-Lord's ship.
Oh, yeah. Well, that and about half a fucking mile of trees.
Well, yeah, and asteroids that he has to fly through, because
Yeah, laser fire, asteroids, half a preserve of sacred trees. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah.
Yep. So they crash land, and Nebula. Well, they still have her for a while until
Rocket lets her go.
Rocket,
was it Rocket?
No, it was Groot.
Groot.
Because
Rocket
Rocket was
Rocket never would have.
right. Well, all the what?
And the Ravagers are coming to get him. And Rocket has literally the greatest weapon ever. It's fungible gravity.
Yeah.
You have no gravity, now you have gravity. It basically is the equivalent of Groot taking a whole bunch of people and slamming them up and down and up and down.
Pick you up, slam me down. Pick you up, slam me down.
The greatest shot in the whole film is you look at the tree line, you're like, what are they showing? And all of a sudden, different patches of Ravagers pop up and come down. Like, ow, look! And, that is just beautiful. That's where the comedy is. The comedy is still, that was equivalent to the Groot smash, and then he turns around and he goes, huh? Look what I did.
Yep.
I'm like, okay,
and it just shows how much of a badass Rocket actually is. I mean, he just can invent anything, and
he's the MacGyver plus infinity.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, they get captured by the Ravagers, and because they're looking for Quill again. Because they put a bounty out on them for stealing the batteries, the Sovereign did. Right. So they went to Yondu.
Now, I have to check the credits, but man, the main Sovereign really looked like Sophie Turner from Game of Thrones.
Could be.
I tried to do a quick scan of the credits at the end, and I was not able to see her name. I think it's Sophie Turner. I think that's her name. Yeah, the redhead daughter. That's right. I'm sorry. You don't watch the Game of Thrones.
Yes, we don't have the HBOs.
Nerd credentials revoked. And just her cadence, and if not, I'd really be keen to see who that actress was. And of course, when everyone is basically gold skin, gold hair, and slightly British, not exactly British, but very high-born in the way they sound. And, and the whole thing about the Sovereign is that each of their citizens, their lowliest person who cleans the toilets is of far greater value than anyone else in the galaxy.
Right.
Which is exactly the opposite of America. We've got an insane caste system here. Thank you, Republicans and Democrats too, to a lesser extent, far lesser extent.
No, it wasn't her. It was Elizabeth Debicki. She looks like her.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be curious to see. Do you have a picture there of what she looks like without the makeup?
Yeah, good old IMDb.
If she looks like,
I've lost it.
Looks like Sophie Turner or not?
A little bit. I mean, she's structured.
A little bit older than because Sophie's probably like in her early 20s or something like that. But anyway, all right, well, very good.
But good call. I mean,
yeah, it had a. I'm always looking for interesting casting, and of course, Stallone was like, "There's no hiding that." Like they're. Well, you remember I had watched the entire Guardians until you mentioned that Karen Gillan was
Nebula.
I was like, what? No. It was like, yeah. And of course, now I see it when I hear her talk, and I'm looking. But before, it's like, my Amy Pond.
Amelia Pond. Well, that was I've told this before, but that was one of the funniest things at Comic-Con was that they cast her as Nebula, and they kind of announced the whole Guardians team at Comic-Con, and she's talking, and they're like, well, Nebula's bald. What are you going to do about it? And she's like, well, I'm going to do this. And she pulled off the wig she was wearing because she had already been filming, and she threw it into the crowd. And she was like, I'm going to need that back because I believe, from what I understand, they filmed her last scene on Doctor Who. Like when in Time of the Doctor, when she was the hologram, when Matt Smith was regenerating, and her head was shaved, and so was Matt Smith's at the time.
Oh yeah, because he had another role in something else.
Yeah, he was doing I don't know if it was in the stage
it was the
role?
biopic of Vidal Sassoon, right?
No. He was doing American Psycho on stage at that point. Yeah, he did American Psycho.
Did he really?
He did, yeah. But it might have been for a different film. It might have been for whatever he had next. It might have been for Terminator Genesis. But he they were both wearing wigs, and I believe her wig was made of her hair. Like they cut it off and made her wig so it looked like
Yeah,
hers.
all right, well.
But speaking of casting,
Yeah.
you can't get better if you're going to have a living planet and the coolest guy in the universe and not have it be Kurt Russell.
I can't imagine anyone else. I mean, I'm sure there's other people that might be okay, but you know what? Kurt Russell works fine for me. And I look at him and go like, you know what? With a little bit of different coloring in the hair and costuming, he could easily do a sequel to any of the films he did in the late 70s and 80s right now and be totally fine.
I will campaign for a sequel to
Escape from New York?
That's fine, which they did.
Big Trouble in Little
Big
Motherfucking
Trouble in Little
China.
Motherfucking China.
They keep Lopan's a calling. Come on.
And he's getting up there, man.
He's still around.
He is, but he's
Well, that was a
he's pushing 90, man.
Was that a Carpenter joint? That was a
Oh, yeah.
That John
Absolutely.
Carpenter joint. And, you know, Carpenter's directing less and less and less.
if
and
at
less.
all. I don't think he is anymore.
He's concentrating on his music now. Which,
Yeah.
What I want is a sequel. Sidebar, Your Honor.
Yep.
A Carpenter film sequel. I want a sequel to oh god damn it, now I forgot the name of it. The one about the devil.
The one about the devil.
God damn it, what the hell was it called?
What about the devil?
It's totally they're in the church and the mirror and Prince of Darkness.
Oh, okay.
Prince of Darkness, because that film ended on a cliffhanger.
I don't know if I know that. If I've ever seen that one.
Oh, it will fuck you up.
Okay.
I mean, let's put it this way: the film ends with, you know, we are transmitting into your dreams from the year 2037, and you see something like, oh my God, our events now just gave birth to the Antichrist. It's ripe for a sequel, man. I mean, they've already done a remake of The Thing.
They've done two, really.
Has there been two?
Well, they did a sequel. No, they haven't done a remake.
No.
They did like a prequel, actually, is what it was.
Did they?
Yeah, they did a
But it wasn't a Carpenter. He had nothing to do with it, right?
I mean, he might have produced, but he didn't direct it. No,
Okay.
they did a prequel that leads up to Kurt Russell,
Yeah.
from my understanding. And
Yeah.
I believe I have it someplace.
I'll have to check that out. They're remaking Suspiria, too.
Really?
Yeah. And Jessica Harper is in it. Not in the same role. She's in a different role.
Oh, man, I don't remember.
That's the old Dario Argento.
That's what I was going to
joint from like
I was like, it's either
late
Dino De Laurentiis or Dario Argento.
Yeah,
I couldn't remember.
I think Suspiria is like 1970.
Yeah.
So it's been, a good 45 years, and here's Jessica in her 60s or 70s or whatever coming back like, I'm still doing it.
Wow.
So,
But back to Kurt Russell.
oh, that's right.
We see him, man, they're getting scary with that aging like CG stuff that they did, because he looked amazing in those early shots.
I know, because either she was CG too, so it matched, or if they were mixing his CG and her natural, it blended perfectly.
Right, and that was the same actress from Guardians. Because they pulled that, they started that in the first real big one was in Civil War, not Civil War. I always say Civil War. Captain America, Winter Soldier, when they had, or was it Ant-Man? No, it was Ant-Man when they had Michael Douglas be young Henry Pym.
Tron Legacy.
Well, yeah, but I'm talking Marvel. They definitely did it with Jeff Bridges, but it's gotten just better and better and better. And this one is this is flawless.
Yeah, he
Like,
was
flawless.
He was a little too gauzy, a little too filtered.
A little bit.
Just a ton. There wasn't, but that's probably just because I'm so used to the way he looks now that I'm looking for the crags and they're not there. Then realize this is supposed to be 1980s, Kurt Russell, not, older Kurt Russell.
Right.
But yeah, I was amazed by how they did. I was like, wow, this opens up something that kind of, maybe we should save this for an entire podcast, but man, if you technically can never die due to CG, I mean,
actors have been talking about that for a long time.
I mean, if any agent worth his salt is paying fucking attention, these contracts need to say, hey,
you can't
use
my
the
likeness.
outtakes of me, but you're not. I mean, my digital rights to my likeness are mine. You can't.
Yeah.
You cannot do it without permission. I mean, some actors would be like, "Oh, fine, I don't care. I'm dead." Other people would be like, "No, that's not my performance. I don't want me acting in a film that I didn't act in."
Right, and
it's the same thing as a writer finishing half a book and then having some other person he doesn't even know finish it up after he's dead. That's like, oh, that'd be like an arrow through the heart.
Yeah, well, with that,
or the neck if you're practicing really.
Well, they did that. Like they had to get permission from the estate of Peter Cushing.
Right, and they did, and they
did.
got it. They did it the right way.
Yeah,
but where
and obviously they got Carrie's permission at the time as well.
Right, but as far as where the law comes down on that,
because she's like Carrie Fisher at the time said, she didn't own her likeness right, so they could put Princess Leia on anything they wanted.
Well, for toys and stuff.
But
I'm talking about for.
But I mean, how gray area?
Yeah,
is
I mean, you
that?
can sign away your merchandising rights, but you don't necessarily sign away your likeness in perpetuity for film and television.
Right.
I mean, my God, if you sign that away, do it in your 60s and 70s as a way to have a nice nest egg to live on until you die.
Yeah.
And then you're dead and you don't care. But just as for myself and all the films that I've not done and never will do, I would be absolutely fucking horrified.
Oh, yeah. And families would,
because you know
too.
what's going to happen in the future. Like, hey, remember Mila Jovovich, how hot she was when she was 23? Well, now we've jacked her, and now she's doing porn. You're like, what the?
Oh, yeah.
Because every technology goes right to porn.
Is started because of and for porn.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't want to see animated
that's
anybody.
Dark. I didn't even consider that. Yeah.
Hi. Watch Black Mirror. It will tweak your brain. You'll be like, that'll be the first thing. What's the worst thing? Oh, that's right.
Oh,
yeah. Dead celebrity porn. Great. That'll be the first thing. Yeah. So that's an area of entertainment law that needs to be locked down before the technology gets to the point where people might think about that.
See, I remember 1998 when they were ramping up to the prequels, and that was a rumor back in the day, was that the actor that was going to play Obi-Wan Kenobi was Alec Guinness. They were going to map his face onto somebody else, and it was an internet BS rumor, but they did it in Attack of the Clones when Count Dooku was fighting Anakin. That wasn't Christopher Lee. They
really?
mapped it. Yeah, obviously.
80-plus-year-old Christopher Lee jumping around like he's, good grief, 12.
Right. And a master swordsman.
On pixie sticks.
On pixie sticks.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, that was a rumor, and they've slowly done it. I mean, Marvel, they did it with Robert Downey Jr. as well in Winter Soldier. No.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, they had him
in
as
Civil War.
It was a Civil War.
Yeah.
They had him with his parents.
Yep.
Back in the day.
So
I remember that.
They're doing that.
And I remember looking, going, he could no, that has to be augmented because he still looks pretty young,
right?
But not that young.
But I remember Michael Douglas. He was very static. He was just kind of there and kind of just kind of talking. And RDJ was. He was a little more fluid. Kurt Russell was seamless. Yeah. I mean, he was moving around and laughing and smiling and driving in his convertible and all
That's
that.
what happens when you got 9 trillion petaflops of of space and processing power.
Rendering time, yeah.
It's like, all right, we got that 3 seconds you wanted. What's the rendering time? 4 days. All right. Do it. We'll take a long weekend. We'll be back.
Yeah.
Now, do you remember the first... oh dear God! What are they doing with that dead actor's likeness?
Do you remember? I do. It was Fred Astaire.
Yeah, that's right.
With the vacuum cleaner,
dancing with a vacuum cleaner,
and that's where it all started. That was the. That's where the.
So this has been telegraphed, people. This isn't like it. It crept up on us. I mean, ever since around the time of Who Framed Roger Rabbit, we were starting to jump into this era. So let's be responsible, shall we?
Yeah, let's not do it. But back to Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell
as Ego, the Living Planet, which is
a little too on the nose there for the.
But that's the name of the character. That really is out of the comics, and it's kind of funny because what better name for Star-Lord's dad than Ego? I'm surprised they didn't make fun of him because of that. Because there were some great like jabs at each other in this movie.
Oh yeah,
just beating the hell out of each other. But we did get another new character, Mantis.
Oh yes, responsible for one of the better jokes. You feel love. Romantic love for her.
Nope. No.
That's do me.
That was the other thing was Drax was so open and like crazy jovial in this.
He definitely is. He has about 3 times as much dialogue as he did in the first one.
Right.
And he's learning.
Yeah. Yes. Drax is learning.
Right. So it's not like he's not this static oaf that just cannot understand.
Right.
If anything, Rocket's like wrong eye.
I'm doing that with my other eye, aren't I?
Yeah.
And I mean, his Drax's monologue about his wife and his daughter. I mean, it tears your heart out. It was like, man, again, I will go. Dave Bautista is a freaking revelation. Where did that guy come from?
And I just watched the most recent James Bond film, Spectre, where he's obviously definitely 2-dimensional in that, but the character, because he's just
a Bond villain.
He's just a Bond villain. Well, actually, he was a Bond henchman.
Okay,
he's a henchman,
right?
But I'm going, you know what? I'm gonna drop my initial to like, wrestlers becoming, there's been too many of them that have come across as like, wow, you may not be in the greatest film ever, but you're holding your own.
Yeah.
And you're doing the job.
Yeah.
So,
and that guy, I mean, like I said, out of nowhere,
Now, if he releases an album, my guard goes right back up like, oh, you wanted the trifecta. You wanted some version of the EGOT, and you're pushing it, buddy. But who knows? Maybe he's a great tenor and he totally knocks it out of the park.
Right.
Who knows?
But I really liked Mantis a lot. I liked her. I don't know. It was kind of cool because it was like the two weird, innocent characters getting together.
You're horrible.
You're disgusting. That was so funny that he was just repulsed by her completely.
And of course, towards the end, we got that. For lack of a better term, the beauty shot, which shows the new version of Guardians.
Oh, the Avengers shot with the rotating camera. I know. I saw that.
Okay,
too.
So she's now she's part, because Ego is gone. So where's she gonna go?
Yeah.
She's now an event or a Guardian.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing Nebula. I still have a feeling that's gonna kind of jump back and forth across the line a bit. Like, she's never going to come after Gamora with like an entire spaceship, but there's going to be times where like old animosity will raise its...
Yeah, she's not going to go soft on us, but I think...
I wanted a sister. I did too. And we're all good now.
Right.
No.
That was a good scene because she was like, Gamora went in for the hug and she was just stiff,
Eventually she did put the arm around.
But not for very long.
In the long shot, it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Kind of like, Sheldon in Big Bang Theory. It's like, I understand this is what needs to happen now. I don't know why, but I will just do it because whatever.
Well, with her, I think it was more like, I will not allow myself to do this. I'm not
gonna cry.
I'm not gonna cry. Yeah. But at least she's turning her thing on Thanos. So I think she's gonna come into play.
Please let that be part of
It
Infinity
will.
War.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, even if she's not the one that takes him down, there needs to be a father-daughter.
Oh yeah,
father-daughter day.
Yeah, and if that might be how she goes out. Come down to it. If she goes, if she comes at him and he just.
Well, because he's got all the Infinity Stones, but 2 at this point?
Not yet.
I hard to keep track of who has.
Yeah,
because the end of Guardians, Nova Prime has one Infinity
has one of
thing.
them. Yeah, there's a whole list of them. There was Loki's staff. There was the
the jewel in the spirit.
Yep, in Vision.
The Vision.
In Vision, yeah, the Loki staff Vision, the one that Nova Prime has, that they got in Guardians. The Eye of Agamotto from Doctor Strange is one of them. Oh crap!
And isn't there like one out there that like we haven't heard about yet? It's still not. We don't know what happened to it or where
there
it
is supposedly 6. I don't know why there would be 6 on a gauntlet, but there are evidently 6. I don't know my Marvel that well enough.
What are you a jewel maker? Like, why would you have 6 on a gauntlet? It's always 7 on a gauntlet or 5 on a gauntlet.
Well, no, 5 fingers is what I'm thinking. Where was I guess 6 would be on the back of the hand. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know.
Right.
But there is rumor that the Infinity Stone might be the one of the many post-credit scenes in this movie. There were quite a bit.
They kind of
milked it.
Lord of the Rings us on this thing, but because we know to expect stuff, it wasn't exactly the same.
Yeah, and
Lord of the Rings, it's like, oh, it's over. No, it's not for like another 20 fucking minutes.
Yeah,
here is just they're doing the post credit scene early. Oh no, there's actually
a bunch
because the film actually ended somewhat abruptly. It ended on kind of like a you expected some kind of a joke or some kind of a, and it just ended. I went, huh. And the way they fixed that is that they jumped because there was like maybe 4 bits of business they had to attend to.
Yeah.
And if they just did it one after another and then did credits and then a post-credits scene, I think they worked it out just fine because they spread it out throughout the credits.
Yeah.
So I thought that was fine, but it was nothing that would sustain an entire scene that they could keep transitioning at the end of the film. So they used the credits to break it up.
So the one rumor I heard was that I think it was the first post-credit sequence when they go back to the Sovereign, to the Gold People, and they did the big machine, and they're like, oh, we're going to call him Adam. That's evidently a major player in Infinity War. And and rumor has it, I was talking to a friend of mine today, and he said he thinks that his little pod cocoon thing that they were making
powered by an Infinity
there was an Infinity Stone in that, so that might be the last one. We don't know, but we've still got Ragnarok, we've still got Thor coming up.
God, Ragnarok! I tell you, I saw the first Thor. Whatever.
I didn't
even see the second one because I didn't care. But
I
this
saw
third one, I am so fucking down.
Second one was
for it.
man. I didn't care for it. I thought it was okay. He didn't work for me as the main guy in his thing with. I didn't care. I didn't like the first one much at all. I've seen it 1 or 2 times on TV, and it's fine. I like him. I like the character, but he works best in the Avengers. He works best as the pseudo-comic relief.
It's kind of a foil back and forth with RDJ.
Yeah. And somebody who can go toe-to-toe with the Hulk for a while. That's
for a while.
For a while, not forever, but...
Yes! He's a friend of mine from work.
Well, like I said, when we were doing the trailer episode, was that was some...
Planet Hulk.
That was some sneaky-ass... shit by Marvel, because they were like, nope, you're not getting a Hulk movie. No, we're not going to do Planet Hulk, and they're like, weren't lying. They just called it Ragnarok.
I tell you, if they just Planet Hulk it up for even 25% of the film, I'll be very fucking happy.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh. I gotta say, I'm really looking forward to this third Thor film, which is weird because usually if you're not down with the first one, who gives a crap about any of the ones that follow? For some reason, I am, and a lot of it has to do, I hate to say it, the graphics are straight Flash Gordon. They're pure late 70s, early 80s, the way they've done it. It looks like...
Guardians was kind of like that, too.
It looks like
the titles a little bit.
Kind of.
But they're totally 80s, 8-bit video game.
It's like they said... We need a title sequence that kind of is like if Kroll had a sequel, like if Flash Gordon had a sequel. Gotcha. Know exactly what That's a first week in the theaters film for me.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I still haven't seen Logan.
Okay.
Have you seen Logan?
I've seen Logan.
Yeah. Okay. Let's not talk about it.
Hey, I have Friday afternoons off, and the only time I can see anything.
That's okay.
I saw Beauty and the Beast too, and you're not going to see that. But.
No, I just...
It was good.
Yeah, okay.
I enjoyed it. I liked it a lot.
It'll probably be something that I'll put it in my Netflix queue. It'll pop up, and I'll go, yeah, sure, I'll check that out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not I'm not a massive Potterhead, so I'm not a huge Emma Watson. Okay. I want to say Emma Thompson. Like, I am a big Emma Thompson fan, not necessarily Emma Watson.
Yeah.
So,
and she was good. She was good. She was, not the best singer in the world.
Oh, isn't that the film where they had the first definitely gay character and everyone got all freaked out, and it turned out that like
it was such a non-issue.
Yeah, it was like barely gay adjacent.
No, you could tell, but there was like literally like 2-second moments where it was like, oh, and then it was gone. It was so innocuous.
Jeez, just like real life.
Yeah. It
like,
was such
I'm a gay character. I'm going to gay it up every minute of the day. Gay, 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 gay.
You could definitely tell. And there was like literally like he basically like called out. It's hard to explain, but it was just like 2 very quick moments.
Don't spoil.
And I was like, that's it. That was the big controversy.
And that's why they won't show the film in Alabama because, well, Alabama.
Yeah, well, they wouldn't understand it. No, it's terrible. I'm sorry. I apologize, Alabama.
I don't. Fuck you, Alabama, and fuck your Jess Sessions too.
Oh
no, we're not doing.
No, not this time.
No, we're not going to do that. So we get to the battery. We blow up the brain. Yeah. The core. It was. Looking exactly like a brain was a little much for me, but that's it. But it was like, I expect to see Dennis Quaid in there going, "Hey,
exactly,
welcome to inner space."
Your big climactic.
Now, the thing that was awesome was the skull with the circulatory system, like, "I'm your father."
The Dr. Manhattan.
Yeah, because that for a second there was like. That was actually a little creepy, scary. There.
He can't, and it was
because that is my father.
And it wasn't, and it was cool because it wasn't like I'm Kurt Russell again. It was like I have to rebuild.
He's
my
regenerating.
bones,
He's rebuilding.
That's right out of Watchmen. I mean, that was
that's Dr. Manhattan.
He rebuilt himself. Like a circulatory system appeared in the middle of the lab, and so I liked it. Cafeteria.
Showed up in the cafeteria.
Oh, okay.
Or no, maybe that was the nervous system. That was the cafeteria.
I don't remember.
Anyway,
well played. But yes, that was, your basic big giant climactic.
All right.
We have to blow this thing up and get out as fast as we can. But oh no, we're not all going to make it. And that's when we get to that's the part that really got to me was you get to. Quill is looking for his father the whole time, and then kind of too late he realizes.
Not really. I never got the sense he was looking for him.
Well, okay.
He definitely was aware that he was out there somewhere, but not really.
It was more about his mother, is what it was.
Yeah.
Which was.
And let me tell you, I was like, all right, this could work out. And then ego, you dumb motherfucker. I really hated putting that tumor in her brain. Like, and literally in 1 second, he had both blasters out and was just going
totally
at
Han
it.
Solo'd it. Did not even blink. Just started shooting.
Yeah.
Shooting. Bang, 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 bang.
It's like, wow.
That was fantastic.
For a omnipotent being, so to speak, you really did not see that coming.
Yeah.
Not that it affected you because, you're all powerful and everything, but still, that's how I like that he didn't sit there and go, what? He was like, nope, fuck it, boom.
Yeah, you killed my mom. That was all he cared about at that point, which was great.
And of course, as it goes on, you find out that he's basically been whoring around the galaxy for millennia.
Yeah,
just trying to get
and then something. Disposing of the unworthy progeny in his little septic tank under the in the middle of the planet.
Now, if you had to go for one of the most abstract comedic moments of the entire film.
Abstract.
Just one of the comedic moments that's not punch set up punchline.
Okay.
Anything that strikes you is
like right off. I don't.
I'm going for something. I'm seeing if something along those lines is also in your brain.
I tell me and I'll
One word. Tape. Like 2.5 minutes in this massive battle
Uh-huh.
of Star-Lord going around to everybody. You got some tape? Tape. Like, yeah, scotch will do.
Yeah.
Why'd you ask me if you didn't have scotch tape? You know, like, nope, nobody's. I mean, he's literally flying around to everybody that's fighting the what are they called?
The Sovereign.
The Sovereign out there, and going on about tape.
Did you ask Gamora? Yes. Are you sure?
Well, she was right next to it. Like, I knew it. Oh, see, that's the kind of gun writing that I like that. I like that very much.
I was reading a review on Ain't It Cool News today, and the way they have it is like there's a background, and then there's a on the left there's a text box where they go on, and where all the actual, not dialogue, but all the text for the review is. Right. And they were breaking down the movie into sections, and section Yondu paragraph, Mantis paragraph.
Was there tape section?
No, well, no, there was a section, and it just said Rocket Taserface, and it just said ha 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 ha, which are all the way across the screen and didn't stop, because that was genius. Taserface. That
was pretty good,
because it is such a dumb name, the fact that Rocket just calls him out on it repeatedly. You thought the best idea would be Taserface.
Oh my God, yeah, that was pretty good. That was pretty good. We like that.
Mm-hmm. And yes, the Scotch tape bit, the tape bit was great. Give me some tape. I'm going to put it over the death button.
Will Scotch tape do? Yeah, it'll be fine. I don't have any. Then why'd you talk about Scotch tape?
Right. And it was funny because that was so, in the trailer, they show that bit. But it was like, does anybody have any tape? And he cuts. He's like, nobody has any tape. They didn't show the minute-long scene of it. And because it was also like Rocket and Groot just sitting there, look at the fingernails.
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny even without that, but when you add that in, that makes it even 10 times as funny. So
the bit that got to me was when, basically Yondu is like, he might have been your father, but he wasn't your daddy. Yeah. That was some heavy stuff, and I was like, holy shit.
That's why he keeps choosing Star-Lord over all these other, even Ravager Code or everything else like that. Now, along the lines with Yondu, we saw for a hot second in the first one what the whistling arrow could do. Oh. But in this one, it's going all throughout the ship, and then the lights go out, and it's like laserium.
Yeah.
And I went, I don't care what any other person has as a weapon. That's the one that I want, because that'll take out an entire battalion in about 10 seconds.
And it was funny, in the first movie, the nerds were kind of complaining because they were like, Yondu has a great big fin on his head. What's this little tiny bullshit? And there it is. They brought it in the second one.
Maybe one is dress fin. And one is activewear.
Well, he said it was a prototype, and that was another great bit in the movie.
Oh God, Groot
bringing everything else he could find.
That's a desk.
That's a desk.
A desk.
That's a desk.
Oh gosh, baby Groot. Now, of course, one of the other credit scenes we got is teenage Groot.
That was amazing.
I mean, Star-Lord comes into his room.
I am Groot.
And Groot is playing video games and apparently is shedding everywhere.
Yep.
I mean, pick up your vines and, it's
he's basically just an emo teenager.
Exactly. And teenage Groot is confused because there's moss in places where there wasn't moss before. And please let him be teenage Groot in the next one.
That has to be the way they do it.
Because they went baby Groot, and then we got in the next film. Now we've got teenage Groot. Yep. Maybe by Infinity War he'll be back to full Grootness.
That would be I think.
Are we going to get Infinity War before the third year?
I think it is. Yeah, I think Infinity War happens next year.
No. I want.
Yeah, they're already working on that. They're already filming that. Yeah, so that's probably, I wouldn't say, that's probably 2019. And
all right.
I don't know, maybe
they'll make it work.
They'll make it work.
They'll make it work. But yeah, just the going through his death, his goth Groot phase, and
I am Groot. I'm Groot. Like,
I am Groot.
Yeah, it's like totally just snarking off to his.
And of course, his baby Groot, Vin Diesel, all his vocals are completely processed. They have to be.
Oh yeah. They just pitched it up, and he didn't really even say it that much. He didn't say I am Groot even that many times.
There was a lot less Grootiness in this.
Yeah,
I think the most Groot we really got was at the button there.
Yeah, he said it like a couple of times, like with the death button. I am Groot. I am Groot. I am Groot. No, you don't press that one. That's the death button.
That's the death button.
Now, which one do you press? I am Groot. I am Groot. I am Groot. No,
that's the same button.
It's the same.
Well, this is also the Groot that went and picked up a desk.
Yeah,
it's the fin that goes on his head. Desk.
Well,
no.
Well, if you go back to the first one, when Rocket's like, okay, we need a battery for whatever, and he's still over the plane, he just walks to the back and he reaches up and grabs it. Groot's not the deepest thinker, but he
got the battery.
He got the thing they needed.
Yeah. Now that's important that we get that last.
Yeah.
That'll set off all the alarms.
Yeah.
Okay.
And bring me that guy's leg.
Now I think we can agree that it is the fan favorite. Groot is the fan favorite of Guardians.
Especially this one.
Just because of the comic relief. Well, I have it on good authority that they're going to do a Groot spin-off film.
Nice.
And you would think it was called I Am Groot, which is which would be the obvious choice.
Right.
But it's actually called Groot.
Medication time. Medication time.
We ran out of Groot. I will Groot you next Groot.
The 9 Billion Names of Pod was conceived, written, and performed by Michael Reed and Dan Bowden. Abdul Beni Hassan is the sound of splintering wood. Research, transportation, and exasperated looks by Courtney Lohner. Technical assistance by Cubase, Pro Tools, Skynet, Keylab, Deep Thought, Big Brother, and Eddie, your shipboard computer. Financial consideration provided by the Wayne Foundation, Stark Industries, the Piranha Brothers, and LexCorp. Legal counsel by the offices of Howard and Fine. Trash Panda is so much worse. Our intro music is written by Tim Akers. This podcast was sponsored by Deep Shag Records and is a production of Audio Primate. Throw us a couple stars on iTunes, why don't you? Listen, watch on YouTube, listen on SoundCloud, stream us on Stitcher, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, or email us commonly at billionpod.com. Until this happens again, I'm Dan Bowman.
I'm Michael Reed.
Hello, Z.
Audio Primate.